Hi, I'm Rick Conlow. I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about creating a high-performance team. And I hear a lot about teamwork in the workplace. A lot of people use the acronym TEAM, together everyone achieves more. But it's a hollow saying because people don't know how to do that. So I'm going to share a piece of that with you today about what needs to be done. We have other resources that cover some other areas. But whether you have a team that works on a special project or it's a department team, what I'm going to talk about will add value to you. So we find that organizations talk about teamwork all the time. I had a meeting in Chicago recently with a company, and one of their key values is teamwork. And what don't they have there? Teamwork, because all I heard for the next 2 days is how they're not working together across divisions. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe that's true in your organization. So there's a real value there about building a high-performing team. And what does that mean? It means people like what they want to do and they want to do it, and they're collaborating and cooperating to get it done to another level. When you build a team, they should exceed what anybody can do individually added together. Now, there is a joke out there that teamwork is kind of like you bring people together and then you waste a lot of time in meetings and nothing ever gets done, and then you got to go back and do the real work. That's kind of, you ever think that way about what's going on? Well, that teamwork kind of has that philosophy in there, because that's the key. It's one thing to bring people together as a team. The real challenge is getting them to work together. That's the crux of the matter. So we want to dig into what we can do to make that happen and achieve breakthrough performance. And I want to tell you, in order to do that, you're going to have to change as a leader. You've got to get better. And essentially, it comes down to understanding content and process. Content is knowing how to build a plan about what needs to be done. Process is how we work together. People need to be trained on listening, on communicating, on problem solving, on dealing with conflict, on putting a plan together cooperatively, about following through, those kinds of things. Without that training, oftentimes that content doesn't get done. With the training, you can ramp it up. That's the opportunity. You've got to be willing to do that, though. Hey, look at this picture. What do you notice here? Is the left circle bigger or the other one? What do you think? If you really look at them, they're the same size. Sometimes our mind plays tricks on us. We think we see one thing, but the reality is something else. That often happens when you bring people together. See, when you bring people together, let's say there's 7 people on the team. Now you've got this person here, the first one, their attitudes, their emotions, their experience. And then you got the next one, then you got the next one. And, sometimes people call working with people the soft skills. There's nothing soft about people. There's emotional activity that takes place between all these people and then together. Or maybe 2 and 3 together. See what I'm saying? So there's a real art and science to teamwork, and we've got to set aside our perceived viewpoint about what needs to be done. What does this sign say? Whoop, I took it off. What does this sign say? Read it now, out loud. I love Paris in the springtime. Do you know most people will say, I love Paris in the spring? And then I ask them, can you read? It's a dumb question, I know, I realize that. But the point of it is, sometimes even though we're looking at something, we see the issue, we see the problem, we don't really know what's there because we're not paying attention. Get what I'm saying? So that's part of what we need to do with pulling people together. So my business partner, Doug Watsba, and I, been in business 20 years, and we put together a performance equation for a high-performing team. And I'm going to share that with you and the various pieces into it. And it gives you the clues to what it takes to have the best performance in your team. So high performance is a product of, first, clear expectations, and then, and there's a multiplier effect with that, by the way, clear expectations, and then it's the competence of the team, the commitment of the team, and the climate the team is working in. So I'm going to talk about each one of those. So what is high performance now? High performance means you're exceeding your goals. For example, I just got an email yesterday from one of our clients, and he goes, and he had sent recognition to his team, 120% a goal. And so he recognized the team, patted them on back through the email, and then, of course, he's going out, talking to them in person as well, which is important to do. 120% a goal. That's the kind of high performance I'm talking about. So it starts with clear expectations. 80% of job performance problems in a team individually is because people don't know what they're accountable for. I had a group of managers together, 25 of them. We did some brainstorming. The COO had given them a goal, and these managers weren't sure what he meant by that goal. CEO wasn't available. He was involved in meetings, so they had to clarify that. It took a half a day to figure out what he meant by a one-line goal. That's what I'm talking about here. It seems simple, but it isn't. So we got to dig in. We need to do planning as a team, clarifying as a team, and then each individual in terms of their part, their role in that. That takes time. So one of the problems we have is that it doesn't get done is, as managers, we don't invest the time. I had another manager call me, says, Rick, I got these reports, I got these meetings, a change in software, all these priorities that the corporate is bringing down on us. I don't have time for my team. And I told him, then you don't have time to be a manager. We can't use that as an excuse. We got to invest the time. And then the competence is your team prepared? Have you prepared them? We go, well, I hire good people. They know what to do. Well, that's dinosaur thinking. I don't care if they're good people or not. The average should be good people. It's kind of an oxymoron. You know what I'm talking about? In other words, we bring people in, we prepare them anyway. It'd be like sending our United States Olympic team over to the next place it's going to be and say, hey guys, go for it, but you don't have to practice. You don't have to learn anything else. We need to get them the training, technical training, people skill training, and then whatever your particular area is, so that they're better at it and do it ongoing. If your company doesn't provide it, you provide it as the manager. Go online and learn. In our book on superstar leadership, we have a star training process that can help you with it. Help people improve their competence. That's also one of Frederick Herzberg's key drivers in his research related to internal motivation. And so is exceeding the goal and achievement. Next area is commitment. How do you get commitment from people? You listen to them. You ask them for their opinion. You give them assignments where they can grow. You include them in decision making. It doesn't mean you abdicate responsibility as a leader. It just means that you learn to understand that if I've got a 7-person team, all those people have experiences and input, and together we can get some synergy going and come up with better solutions than if I just make them all the time. You hear what I'm saying there? So that's the commitment. It grows. That's not something you do once in a while. Once a year planning time becomes part of your leadership practice. And then the climate. The climate is our working relationship. Yes, it involves environment a little bit, but also the norms and the values we have of open communication. You know, I had a manager say, Rick, I have an open door. I said, that's great. How does it work? He says, I tell them, come talk to me anytime. So I happened to be at that business there, and I happened to be walking on the hall, and I heard this manager screaming at one of his employees, saying, hey, why are you interrupting me? Don't you know that I'm planning for that big meeting that's coming up? That was his open door policy. That doesn't work. So the climate is how we work together. Is it positive or negative? Is it helpful or hurtful? Is it constructive? Is it honest? So if there are problems, do we deal with them or do we put them off? Do we handle conflict in a helpful manner? So it's those kinds of interpersonal relationship things that we need to be aware of. And by the way, most people need to be taught these things. It goes back to the competence. And then we need to model that. Here's one way to tell about your climate. Have you ever said to your team, I blew that one. I made a mistake. I own that. I can do better. Teamwork is a value, not an action. It's something we need to believe in. If you want your team to be successful, you're going to work with them as a team. If you just want them to do something for you so you look good, then you don't have it. So the kinds of things I'm talking about in terms of building that environment for a high-performing team is what we believe in our heart, not just what we do. If we believe in it, though, we'll act on it. Okay? In other words, you can't fake it. And this information I'm sharing with you comes from our book, Superstar Leadership. We also have a new book release coming out called How to Create a High-Performance Team. So I appreciate you coming. Take this to heart. Learn some more. And I know that you'll find a way to break through on your performance with your team. I have this dream that soars on golden wings. I visualize your achievements and your legacy that sings. I do not know all about your awesome goals or persistent effort to raise the bar. I only know you can be the best, a superstar. Thanks for coming.